I hate this saw. I hate this saw. Oh, I hate this saw. You know how I feel about this saw, don't you? Oh, man. Ah! So today we're going to take another crack at getting the poolin to run. We'll see what happens. Welcome to Retired for Life. I'm your host, Brian. I retired a few years ago after 30 years in a factory job as a machinist in a millwright. I needed to rediscover what life could really be like. When we purchased this property, the house had stood empty for over a year, and the property had been badly ravaged by poor logging practices. Since my retirement, I've been working to renovate the home and restore the surrounding forest to its natural beauty and attract wildlife back to the property. Join me as I learn about nature and working with wood to create the backdrop for this new chapter of our lives. So it was suggested to me by a couple of viewers that the screen behind the muffler here might be blocked up with carbon. I never thought to look at that. Of course, as I've said a number of times, I am not an expert on chainsaws. So I really appreciate the feedback. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, at first glance, I would say that's pretty bad. Let's peel it off and get a better look. Oh, well, it's really not as bad as I thought. But what we're going to do is clean it up anyway, because there is a fair bit of carbon on it. We'll clean it up and put it back on, and we'll see what happens. Now, it is essential to have these screens in place. Don't take them off and leave them. They are the spark arrestor. Without these on, you could be throwing sparks out from your chainsaw. And your chainsaw is making some really nice sawdust. And that could end up being a really big problem. All right, well, there was a fair bit of carbon that came out of there without a doubt. Okay, that's nice and clean now. Let's put it back together. Whoops. Let's try to get it the right way around. All right, there we go. I'll get my coat back on and we will go outside and give this a shot, see what happens. All right. So cold start. Give it a couple of pumps on the primer bowl. Make sure it's on. Choke is all the way out. Brake is on. Let's see what happens. All right, we'll give it just a minute to warm up and then we'll try it again. All right, it's been idling quite nicely for a couple of minutes. Let's see what it does. Better. Not great. Still struggling a lot. All right, what we're going to do is adjust the chain and then go around back to where I've got a downed tree here, and we'll see what it's like under load. We've got a pretty reasonable size old pine here. Let's see what happens. See if we can get it to start. Well, that's not a good sign. Well, darn it. It should have fired right up. It's not even firing. I hate this saw. I may have flooded it. We'll take it in and take the spark plug out and clean it out. I hate this saw. Have I said that before? Well, everything is attached, so I don't see a problem there. The spark plug is completely dry. All right, I'm going to start up the air compressor and just give that a little shot with air. All right, so there's the spark plug. Yeah. Dry as a bone. Let's give this a couple of shots anyway. Yeah, there's nothing coming out of there. All right, let's put it back together. So I haven't changed anything from when we had it running just a minute ago, sounding promising. But now I'm wondering, why was that spark plug as dry as it was when it wasn't starting? All right, we'll get it together and take it out there. All right, here we go again. Man, oh man. Yeah, I don't get it. Oh, I hate this saw. I know it's not out of gas because we filled it. I can see gas in the priming ball. It is low, but there is gas in it. That's it. I'm done. You know how I feel about this saw, don't you? Boy, oh boy. All right, let's get back to the shop. Well, I don't know what to say about this thing. 5 minutes ago, it was running. Now it won't even fire. With no changes, nothing done to it. And for a minute there, it sounded promising. I think that's just a nasty joke that this thing's pulling on me. Okay, so you can see the fuel line there, right behind this red wire. And when I press the prime, you can see there's fuel moving there. Makes me think I'm going to try it one more time. All right, let's give this thing a couple more pulls here. All right, because I don't think it's going to start, we're going to try it right here in the shop. Okay, so we know we're off there. I'm going to put the choke to just the first setting, so it's not all the way. That figures. Oh man. I don't get it. So I don't know what was going on there. I showed you guys you could see the fuel moving in that fuel line, but there was some foam in there, kind of bubbly. I wonder if somehow there was an airlock in the carburetor and now we've got it pushed by. Okay, let's take it back outside and here we go again. Okay, here we go again. We're going to do the exact same thing. We know the stop button is up. I've got the brake on. Choke out to the first setting. That's more like it. Yeah, that's not so hot. It seems to be running a little bit better practically with each cut. Strange. It is better. Try it again. So, switch is on. Choke is out to the first setting. Are you kidding me? Ah! Okay, I'm done for today. We're going to drain what gas is in there out again and refill it tomorrow. Then we'll try one more time before I beat this thing to death with a hammer. Okay, we'll see you in the morning. All right, folks, welcome back. It is a bitterly cold day out there today. So I've got both my kerosene heaters going, and we are above freezing in here now anyway, but a little ways to go yet. So I have drained the gas out of this, and just seeing bubbles coming up through the gas line to the carburetor when I'm hitting the primer pump didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm just trying to see if there's something going on. And there is. That does not look right. I thought maybe there's something wrong with the filter on the end of the gas line. But what I'm seeing is the filter is sticking up in the air. We're sticking up towards the top of the tank a lot. It's not laying flat down. So it was low on gas, and I'm wondering if that might have had something to do with it. Oh yeah, clasping at straws here without a doubt, just hoping to make this thing work. Oh, there, it was kind of stuck on a rib sort of thing here, and it is now flat on the bottom of the tank, but it looks nice and clean, so I don't see any problem there. The tank itself is nice and clean, so there's not a bunch of gunk or anything in it. So let's put some fuel in it. Okay, so I have filled this right to the top. I've taken the cover off of it in case I want to try to adjust the high-speed screw on it. Whew. It is bitter cold. All right, so we know the switch is into the on position. It's all the way up. I've got full choke on. We've already primed it. So brake is on. I have my headphones on, but I might be wasting my time. All right, let's see. Good sign. All right, let's let it sit for a couple of minutes to warm up. All right, let's try it again. All right, here's the part I don't like. So, what do you think? Is it going to start? So, brake is on. Choke is out one notch. Actually, let's leave the choke all the way in because it was just running. Power is on. Okay, here we go. That's a good sign. Okay, what we're going to do now is put the cover back on, and then we'll take it back out to the back and try it on that piece of pine again. Switch is on, brake is on, no choke because it was running, so it still should be reasonably warmed up. Let's give it one choke. Choke is off. Let's see if we can get the revs up. It's better. Yeah, as soon as I really put weight on it there, it just quit. So let's see if it'll start. I'll give it a couple of primes here. Okay. All right, let's turn it off and restart. Switch on, no primes, no nothing. Okay, give it 2 primes. Uh-oh. Let's go to first choke level. Chain brake is on. Three primes. I hate this saw. Have I said that before? Well, that's it. This is just nothing that even comes close to dependable, which is a shame. Let's get back in the shop and I'll tell you what I was thinking of while I've been fighting with this thing. So frustrating. So the part that's frustrating with this thing is that it is actually close to running. But is it worth spending money on? You know, it was never that great of a saw in the first place. Pretty underpowered. Ran decent for the first year, and then it was trouble ever since. So should you put money into something like that? So my hope was to turn this thing into a bark peeler. And I was going to use this thing from Amazon here to put on this saw and leave it on this saw. And then it would be very handy to have. It would be really nice to be able to peel the bark off of my pine logs as soon as I get them here, because bark is what gets you in trouble with pine logs. If you leave it on there for any real length of time at all, especially in the warmer weather, you're going to get these bugs into it. They'll chew through that bark and then down into the wood and ruin the log. And they can ruin a lot of wood really quickly. But if it doesn't have bark on it, they leave it alone. I don't understand that, and that doesn't matter. The fact is, that's how it works. So that was my hope. So what would you folks do? Would you spend the money on something like this and maybe try to get a new carburetor for it and see if it'll run then? Or would you scrap it? I hate this saw. I am really tempted to just say the hell with it and scrap it, because I don't think it's worth it. It's just not that great of a saw in the first place. But let me know what you think. So that's going to be it for today's video, folks. Remember to stay safe out there, be good to each other, and we will see you out on the trails the next time. I think I got a big hammer with your name on it.
We go out for a beer, it's so clear when you're here, but we never get near enough. We drink and we dance, you don't give it a chance. Is it really romance you feel? When you're around, we both try to pretend you're just a guy, and I am just your friend. What if all of my love is yours? What if you were the one I chose? Would you throw me like dirty clothes, or would we last forever? If you are not mine, I'm letting you go.